Hello, can you hear
Hey,
me?
yeah, sure. Just a second. I will change the output. Uh,
Yeah, no worries.
oh, you have very good sound. What?
Yeah, I'm using my proper mic, so hopefully that'll work well.
But by the way, have you ever tried to play music through the Zoom?
I've never tried. I don't know how it would go.
We tried, but the quality was so bad. So missing notes and missing sounds.
Yeah, it'd be pretty hard because yeah, there's so much that can go wrong. Do you mind if I kind of do that? Because my mic's coming through my headphones. It's really strange.
Yeah,
Um,
it's okay.
yeah, the timing with everything, and then the internet, and there's so much that can go wrong. Yeah.
But I hope that in the future we will have any kind of possibility to have live concerts when everyone plays in live.
Yeah, I think that'd be awesome because obviously people have different recording setups and they do different things with the way they've mixed it. So some artists will have like a studio kind of quality live performance and others not so much. And that's normal, but when it's completely live, it's a little bit more, I don't know, just kind of equal for everyone, I suppose. And yeah, I don't know. I think that'd be a great idea.
It's a kind of different feelings for audience uh, because different level of energy.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah, I agree. When you're in the moment like that, when it's really live, anything can kind of happen, which is pretty awesome.
Viewers are interested who you are in your personal life, where do you live, what do you do, and like daily life.
Yeah. So I live in Australia and I live in a place called Nelson Bay, which is a little bit north of Sydney. So I grew up in Sydney, which is like the biggest city in Australia. And then I moved up here about 4 or 5 years ago. So I live right on the water. It's really beautiful, kind of crystal water. When I lived in Sydney, I lived in a tiny little apartment. It was actually quite, quite difficult. So I live in a really nice place. I've been playing music for a long time. At the moment, I actually do singing lessons, like I teach people to sing. I used to do guitar lessons. I work in the local high school and I also work doing things for my church. So I do youth programs for my church and I also do the music side of things for my church as well. So I kind of do a lot of things, but I also record my own music and write my own songs, and that's something I really love to do with music. So that's a very quick snapshot into some of the things I do. Yeah.
What about your favorite music? What style do you like?
That's a great question. I like lots of different styles of music. So I actually grew up playing progressive metal and progressive rock music. So I really liked Metallica and Dream Theater, if you've heard of bands like that. And I actually started off as a guitar player and a lead guitar player. So I got really good at playing really fast solos and that kind of thing. And I always liked to sing, but it's difficult after your voice breaks as a guy because I was good as a singer as a child, and then it got a bit tricky. So I just focused on playing guitar.
I understand.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
what about Dimash? I know that many rock singers and many rock musicians they love Dimash music. Uh, what can you say about this stereotype?
Yeah. Well, I think one thing that Dimash does so many things really, really well. And one of them is obviously he's got a very great range and he's got a great tone and expression. And a lot of kind of progressive rock and progressive metal focus on having lots of range and expression as well. So in that sense, they share that with Dimash, but Dimash has a much broader capability than the average metal singer. So even though he shares some qualities of that, he also does way more. And I also like other kinds of music. So I started off liking rock and metal and being that kind of musician, but now I love pop. I like Michael Jackson and things like that. And I know Dimash is a big fan of Michael Jackson as well. So I've actually probably got a pretty similar taste in music as Dimash when it comes to Western music. Obviously has a lot of influences that are Kazakh and from other regions that I'm not as familiar with as well. But yeah.
By the way, do you remember the first impression? When did you meet Dimash?
Okay, so the first time was when I saw SOS, his version on The Singer. And so basically I was wanting to do some stuff on YouTube. Like I'd uploaded a few of my own songs, and because I'm a vocal coach and I love listening to talented people and talking about, you know, talented people and what makes people good. And I saw a lot of kind of, you know, on YouTube, you get the recommended thing,
Yeah.
and I'd get loads of Dimash coming up all the time. And I also had BTS and other people, and I'm not into K-pop, so I didn't want to watch BTS, and I didn't know who Dimash was. So I just thought he might be something like that. But then I can't remember, I was talking to someone on the internet and they said, oh, you've got to really listen to Dimash. And I was like, oh, but isn't he just one of those singers? And they're like, no, he's like amazing. I'm like, all right. So I decided to, the first time I heard Dimash was my first reaction video on my channel to any singer.
Mhm.
And it just happened to be probably the best singer ever that I've ever heard. And so that was really fortunate because I really love Dimash's music. And it's funny because the type of singing I do, in terms of like lots of range and high notes and things like that, I was doing that stuff before I found Dimash, but Dimash is just way better at it than me and anyone else I've ever heard. So it's like, it's kind of like we share that sound, but Dimash is just in the stratosphere amazing. So finding Dimash gave me someone I could look up to who's like the pinnacle of music that I like, if that makes sense. Yeah.
So can you say that Dimash changed your attitude to music and it changed your music life?
Yes, definitely. Before I heard Dimash, I kind of thought that the level of what was possible with music in terms of, you know, vocal and expression and all the things that he does, I thought like this was the limit of what was possible. And then Dimash showed me that you can go way, way higher, if that makes sense. So he actually caused me to stretch myself to get better. Because up to then, you know, for instance, I would sing up to around a G or an A max, an A5, if there's any musicians out there, which is a very, very high note. But I didn't try to go beyond that in terms of range. And also just in terms of, it's not just about range, it's also about the expression and the soul and the broadness of how much stuff Dimash does. And so when I heard Dimash and he was singing way higher than that, different tones and the warmth, the low notes, and then the high notes, and just his ability to make it all sound great together all at once made me think, wow, you can do that. Because I actually love that. But what I found difficult was, well, how do you write that into a song, or how can you, you know, how can you do it? And Dimash, again, he's like the perfect example of stuff that I like with singers. And so, yeah, he definitely stretched me. He changed the way I thought about writing music, performing music, and he's definitely caused me to try to get a lot better. Yeah.
Is it like a teaching? And I mean,
Yes.
like every singer became a student after meeting with Dimash.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. That's exactly right. When someone is so great at something, it causes you to, yeah, want to be a student of theirs. You want to come under that in some way and learn from them. And obviously I'm very different to Dimash as a singer. My voice doesn't sound like his in terms of tone, and he's obviously way better than me. But so it's not a copying thing. It's more of a you get exposed to being aware of what is possible, and you want to learn from the best. And so yes, I definitely thought I could do basically as much as the male voice could do in terms of, and I'm not saying I'm the perfect singer, but just in terms of range and some of those things. And yeah, then Dimash showed me there's way more that's possible in every category. So yeah, definitely.
So is it like Dimash is creating new style, new sound, and the singers that they have a kind of education, they have experience, and when they see Dimash, they understand that something new is going to appear.
Yes, I think that's exactly right. I don't think people understood that you almost have to rewrite the textbook now. Like, this is what we understood about the voice and artistry and being a musician and a performer. And Dimash has gone way above that. And now we all have to rethink, how we do things. And that's a great thing. When a great scientist comes along once every 100 years and shows you new things about the world, you readjust, you rewrite the textbooks. And I do think Dimash is very much like that. Yeah.
I can actually ask you one more question about Australia, because
Yeah,
because all we know is that like kenguru and boomerang, and that's it. Can you tell us something that people should know about Australia?
Yeah, Australia is a really, really funny place because it's a very big country, but most of it is desert or is very difficult to live in. But we have everything from desert to snow. We've got snowy mountains. It can be cold in parts of Australia. It can be very hot. And so it's a very diverse place. In the cities, you'll never see a kangaroo, ever. But if you go into the country, they might jump up onto the porch while you're asleep. A lot of people think we have loads of poisonous animals, which we do, but Australia is so big that luckily they don't all live in one place. So if you hear that Australia has very dangerous animals, in one location there might be one dangerous animal. In another, there might be another. They don't all live in the same place. So come visit Australia, because if you hear it's dangerous, it's actually not that bad. We're okay.
Okay, is it same like in Russia? You can meet only bears, and they are drunk because they drink vodka every day. Actually, I even heard that in Australia there is a end of the world, and do you know that theory?
Yeah. I've heard of the one where, because the Earth is flat, Australia doesn't exist. Yeah, so
Yeah.
we're paid actors. I thought that was so funny, because I'm like, well, what am I then? Do I not exist? Yes, no, we're a very funny place, Australia, because we are almost on the edge of the world. You go down the south of Australia, it's very cold. You go to the north, it's incredibly hot. So it's, yeah, we're an interesting country.
Yeah, I think that we need to think about going to Australia someday, probably. Uh,
Yeah.
and of course, you are welcome to Russia if you have time. You will be our guest.
Yeah, I'd love to come to Russia. Yeah, there's so many places I want to explore, and Russia would definitely be one of the places I'd want to go. Yeah.
And of course, we have to visit Kazakhstan, and I can recommend you to visit Kazakhstan, because I was there once, and people are great, and food is amazing. I have never
Yeah.
tried food so as tasty as I tried in Kazakhstan.
Really? Oh, I'd love to visit it. My dream would be to get to sing with Dimash one day. That would be amazing. And so I would travel to Kazakhstan. I'd travel to Antarctica if I got to meet Dimash. So
Okay.
but either way, I'll definitely visit. Maybe I could see him in concert, because I don't know if he'll end up doing a concert in Australia. Hopefully one day, but I might have to travel to go see him.
Yeah, that's it. We are done, and then if dears will also ask any other questions, we will arrange a second interview, second conversation.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, thanks so much for having me. It was heaps of fun.
Yeah, thank you. So
Yeah.
see you next time. Goodbye.
Yeah, definitely. See you later. Bye.
Bye.